call this August 10th, 2026 meeting of the Beaumont Town Council to order. All members are present. Welcome Brian and Karen Edwards to our attendance today. And moving on to our first item, the consent agenda, the approval of the July 13th minutes, the special meeting from July 29th minutes, and the finance reports.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of approval of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda is approved. Public comments, Sheila?
Yes, sir. Karen Edwards, we have two that would like to speak. Karen Edwards is first.
Okay.
Good morning.
Aye.
My name is Taryn Edwards, and I'm a resident of the town of Momire and also the secretary for the Momire Outreach Committee. I'm here today to speak about the mayor's recent suggestion regarding term limits and attendance requirements for our town's boards and committees. I want to approach this respectfully and factually because a few key details matter here, and I think they've been overlooked. Let me start with what our town code actually says. Our local code contains exactly one provision addressing board attendance, section 100.04. And section 100.04 applies to one body only, the Board of Adjustment. That's it. No other committee in this town operates under a formally adopted attendance ordinance. Not any advisory committee, and notably not the town council itself. I want to be clear about why that matters. The fact that section 100.04 exists for the Board of Adjustment tells us something important. This town knows how to formally adopt these kinds of rules when it chooses to. We did it for one body. We have not done it for the others. That is not an oversight I'm criticizing. It is simply the current legal reality that needs to be acknowledged before any new requirements are discussed or enforced. And North Carolina state law does not fill that gap. The North Carolina Open Meetings Law, Article 33C of Chapter 143 of the General Statutes, governs how public bodies must conduct their meetings. It requires openness, proper notice, and minutes. What it does not do is establish attendance standards or tenure requirements for individual board members. That authority, under General Statute 160D-306, rests with the local governing body, and it must be exercised through a formally adopted ordinance. Which brings me to term limits. There is currently no ordinance, local or state, that imposes term limits on any board or committee in this town. If the council wants to establish them, that is within its authority. But it would require a proper process, a drafted policy, notice to affected members, an opportunity for public comment, and a formal vote. It simply cannot be announced or assumed into existence. And before that process begins, I'd ask the council to seriously consider whether term limits are the right tool for a community our size. We are approximately 250 people. The pool of residents who are willing, available, and able to serve on a volunteer board at any given time is not large. It may be 20 people on a good day. When you impose term limits, you don't create space for new leadership. In a town this size, you risk creating vacancies that simply don't get filled. And an understaffed board, or one that has lost its most experienced members, doesn't serve this community well. Research from small and rural communities across the country confirm this. In Michigan, more than half of small-town local officials report that they cannot find enough residents willing to serve on appointed boards. Forcing experienced, committed volunteers off those boards, regardless of their performance or their community's need, makes that problem worse, not better. If the underlying concern is accountability or fresh perspectives, I'd encourage the council to consider alternatives: annual reappointment reviews, structured onboarding for new members, or open conversations with current volunteers about long-term commitment. Those approaches can address the goal without the risk. What I'm asking today is straightforward. Just please follow the process. Any new attendance requirements or term limits for boards beyond the Board of Adjustment need to be formally drafted, noticed, and adopted before they are enforced. That is not a bureaucratic technicality. That's the rule of law in local governance. The people who volunteer their time to serve this community deserve nothing less. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry.
Copy of that, please.
All right. My public comment today is on the proposed term limits. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. As a citizen of the town of Mumbai, I would like to comment on the agenda item regarding term limits. While I understand the intent behind term limits, I do not believe they are necessary at this time for the town of Mumbai advisory boards and committees. In larger municipalities, term limits may make sense because there is a broader pool of residents available to serve. However, Momar's population is significantly smaller, which limits the number of individuals who are willing and able to volunteer their time and expertise in service to the community. For comparison, the town of Spring Hope has 1,358 residents. The town of Nashville has 5,960 residents, and the town of Momar has 250 residents. Given Momar's small population, imposing term limits could unnecessarily restrict the town's ability to retain experienced and dedicated volunteers. Advisory boards and committees rely heavily on citizen participation, institutional knowledge, and continuity. When qualified individuals are willing to continue serving effectively, I believe the town should maintain the flexibility to reappoint them rather than be constrained by term limits. For these reasons, I respectfully do not support implementing term limits for the town of Momar's advisory boards and committees at this time. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Anything from the council? Obviously, you see we have discussion of that down the hill a little bit too, so. All right, Mr. Jackson, on the fire report.
Okay, the Wilmar Fire Rescue Fire Report for July. They had 4 fire calls in their district. They had 13 calls assisted other stations. They had 16 rescue calls in their district, and they had 15 outside assisted other calls. They had 48 calls for the month of July. In comparison, in 2020 for the year, they had 328 calls. 2025, they have 565 calls. And so far this year, as of 7/31, they've had 329 calls. And I'm sure as far as I know, all the equipment's up and running at our station. I'm sure y'all have, if you've not heard, that EMS director
Yes.
from Nash County was drowned this past week.
Carter County, Carter
Yeah.
County. I was happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
That's it.
Martha
I know
Lucas is
about
up
the
for
audit.
audit.
And also, next Tuesday night will be the COG meeting.
Okay.
I already talked to Sheila about the audit.
Anything else from other council members?
I do have one correspondence, I forgot to go over.
Okay. So nothing else from other members? All right, go ahead with the correspondence then, please.
The family of Betsy Weaver acknowledges with grateful appreciation your kind expression of sympathy. Thank you for your generous donation to Nashville Church of God in memory of my mother. Our family appreciates your donation, LaRue Weaver and family.
All right, planning board update with Brian.
This is an update from the planning board meeting on July 28th, 2026. Prior to the meeting starting, the planning board chair opened with a prayer. The planning board meeting was called to order. A quorum was verified and the board reviewed the minutes and approved. The planning board reviewed the updated language for section 3112, temporary outdoor events, which incorporated provisions previously contained in section 3136, outdoor event venue. After discussion, the board agreed to combine sections A and B of section 3112 and establish a 2-day limit for temporary outdoor events. The board also agreed to eliminate section 3136, outdoor event venue. The board then reviewed regulations regarding storage containers. Members examined language from the Town of Nashville's ordinance, as well as draft language prepared by the planning board chair regarding non-conforming uses and storage container standards. Following discussion, the board agreed to permit storage containers and amend section 35.06 to include storage containers as an allowable accessory use along with specific standards and requirements. The board agreed that a subsection should be added under section 35.06 E3 to define storage container specifications and requirements, including maximum size of 40 feet in length, no axles or wheels permitted, maximum of 2 storage containers per residential property, no stacking. Containers must be located in the side or rear yard. Containers must be painted a neutral color. Containers must be placed and leveled on an improved surface. Approved surfaces include asphalt, concrete, gravel, wood, or similar materials. Containers shall not be placed on dirt, grass, or other unimproved surfaces. Farm properties would be exempt from these requirements. The board also proposed changes to section 3507, commercial, industrial, and office accessory structure and building standards to ensure consistency with the storage container provisions. The board then reviewed section 3131, kennels or pet grooming canine training facilities, and discussed whether kennels should be permitted within the RA zoning district. During the discussion, zoning administrator Sheila Alford reported that she had researched the kennel located on Annie Lee Lane and determined that it was established prior to the town's incorporation in 1991. Based on this information, the planning board agreed to leave the ordinance unchanged and continue allowing kennels only within the RAE zoning district. Should questions arise in the future regarding the Annie Lee Lane kennel, the zoning administrator can provide documentation demonstrating that the facility existed prior to incorporation. The board next reviewed section 3133A, manufactured homes, and agreed to add the following language. Type of unit allowed: a single-wide manufactured home that meets HUD standards, was constructed in 1976 or later, contains at least 980 square feet, and has a minimum width of 14 feet may be permitted. The board also agreed to renumber this section because section 3133 is currently assigned to library uses, and section 3136 became available following its elimination. The board then reviewed section 3143, swim and tennis clubs, and section 3136, temporary hardship manufactured homes, and agreed to retain both sections in their current form for future land use considerations. The board reviewed section 3560, residential accessory structures, and determined that no additional changes were needed beyond those discussed regarding storage containers. The planning board chair then addressed Article 5, Division 40, buffer yards, landscaping screens, specifically concerning a previously identified issue involving the lack of a buffer yard between the Momar Roofing Club and the adjacent residence. The chair noted that both structures were constructed prior to the town's incorporation. The board agreed that the buffer yard requirements should remain in place to guide future development and land use decisions. The board then discussed the development of proposed code of conduct resolution. The planning board chair advised members that he had prepared a draft code of conduct, but wished to revise and review it further before additional board discussion. The chair asks members to review the document and be prepared to discuss it at the next meeting. Town clerk Sheila Alford stated that the proposed code of conduct could not be forwarded to the town council as a formal motion from the planning board. The chair acknowledged this and explained that the planning board serves as an advisory capacity regarding zoning and ordinance matters. Once the draft has been reviewed and refined, the board intends to recommend that the town council review and consider adopting a code of conduct. The planning board chair, I'd like to explain the rationale for pursuing the code of conduct. Given the conduct observed at recent meetings, I believe a code of conduct is necessary for all town boards, elected officials, and town employees. Efforts to embarrass, humiliate, or demean fellow members, along with the use of inappropriate language, undermine the effectiveness of local government. Respect, civility, professionalism, and decorum should be expected of everyone participating in town business. A code of conduct would establish clear expectations for behavior and help promote productive and respectful public discourse. The planning board chair also provided an update that he is waiting comments on recommendations from Joshua Hollis and Cameron Brogdon of the Mid-East Commission regarding sections 31, 34, massage and bodywork therapy, as well as feedback from town attorney Scott McKellar regarding section 3140, adult and sexually oriented businesses, and section 1511, commercial data centers. Finally, the planning board chair discussed plans for the next meeting and encouraged members to continue reviewing the zoning ordinance for additional sections that may require revision or clarification. The chair also advised that all changes agreed upon by the board would be incorporated into a working draft of the zoning ordinance and made available for review at the next meeting. The board reviewed the date and time for the next meeting, and the meeting was adjourned.
I need a copy of that too, Brian, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Thanks, Brian. Now with community outreach update, Taryn Evans.
So the town of Momire proudly celebrated a powerful two-day community event as the Freedom Truck exhibit arrived, drawing an extraordinary 556 visitors, despite steady periods of rain.
I'm proud of you, girl.
Thank you.
Especially considering the weather.
Yep.
Most definitely. That was a blessing in disguise.
You said 500, how many?
556. So the Freedom Truck also kept a count. They had a count of 514. The discrepancy there was that the Freedom Truck focuses on school-age children,
Right.
not infants that are swaddled, which there were plenty,
Oh, yeah.
not toddlers that are being held, which there were plenty,
Yeah.
and not repeats that went back through after going home and saying, hey, this event was fabulous, y'all need to come back. So that's where the difference in
Yeah, I met
those
some
numbers
people
were.
that came, they went back and brought some more people.
I think
Yes,
I went about
absolutely.
5 times or so. It's
Oh,
either,
Yeah,
they went a
yeah.
bunch of times. I
And
hate
she
I
stood in
couldn't
the,
go,
I'm sorry that you were feeling bad. Let me see. So families, church groups, veterans, and curious residents came not only from Nash County, but from Laurinburg, Cary, Williamston, Lillington, Raleigh, and Mount Olive, with many traveling over an hour for the experience the exhibit's moving and educational impact. Several guests returned, like we had just mentioned, and returned multiple times, bringing additional family and friends simply because the experience resonated so deeply. We also had the Nash County Sheriff, Keith Stone, a judge from Rocky Mount, Mark, and I'm gonna kill it, Osterhout, thank you, and 3 of our North Carolina State Troopers that were helping with traffic came and toured the bus also.
Oh, good.
And Everyone received one of the 250 gift bags, goodie bags that we had for the first 250 attendees. So the event was co-hosted by Momar Baptist Church and one volunteer from Holly Grove, whose hospitality and support created a welcoming environment for all attendees. The outreach committee members, Momar Baptist Church volunteers, which were about, if I counted it correctly, 50. And the Freedom Truck team, led by Josh the driver and managers Lola and Jeff, all worked tirelessly throughout the weekend, ensuring every visitor had time to explore the exhibit, ask questions, and reflect on its message. The Freedom Truck team actually commented on the astounding number of attendees that we had for such a small town. And they said that they have been to several different colleges where the turnout was only 30 to 40 in a day. So that was tremendous. We had 210 the very first day and a total of 556.
I got something I'd like to reference to that.
Okay.
I'd like to commend y'all on the advertisement and getting the word out. But we had people that came from Rocky Mount, and it was back, the truck was in Rocky Mount in March,
Yes,
earlier this
It
year.
was only there for 2 hours.
right.
But they didn't know about it until after the fact.
Yeah.
So I commend y'all for how you got the word out.
Yeah.
And I thank the graphic for a lot of that. And I heard that the people from, from Lillington came from the radio announcement that they heard, on the Big Dog. So that was fabulous. Let's see. I think, then the next order of business for the outreach committee is, we've discussed it, and based on some of the information that we got from the Freedom Truck itself, from an actual veteran that came and spoke to Tracy and to some of the rest of us, a standalone veterans event may not be the most beneficial, biggest bang for our buck in November. So instead of focusing on a third event for this calendar year, we want to focus on another fun day in April. We're looking at the 10th or the 17th right now. We're still things are still being worked on, obviously. We're gonna do some research, gonna go to Bun Fun Day and see the kinds of things that they've got going on, see what else we can draw, and see if we can get a bigger crowd than even the first fun day that we had.
Right.
But for right now, we're gonna hold off on a separate veterans event and potentially coordinate it, combine it into the fun day. We had mentioned dedicating a bench for the veterans. That's still up in the air, but right now we're not going to do a separate day. And then the last thing I wanted to note was that on behalf of the committee, I'd like to address a recent article published in the Graphic regarding committee attendance. It's important to clarify that the Momar Outreach Committee has not received any formal guidance outlining committee expectations or an established attendance policy. Without such directions, members have been participating to the best of their understanding, and any concerns about attendance would benefit from clear standards communicated to all committee members moving forward. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. On to the new business. So, first thing is the town code review. Any comments? Anybody?
Well, I noticed on page 15 in the book, it says that our meetings are on the second Tuesday at 7:30 at night, and they're not on the second Tuesday, they're on the second Monday at 9 o'clock in the morning. Are we gonna change our meetings? We are.
We should,
You said page 15.
we should reflect it.
Page 15 in the code book.
The copy I've got this month actually does have it corrected.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't get it. I mean, I got the old book. Okay, so it is correct. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, that's good. That's on Monday mornings and,
You should have got the new one.
not the book I got. My book has got the old thing. I'll give you the book when I leave here. but
Yeah,
I'll bring-
section 101.1, regular meetings. It should say second Monday of each month, unless that day is legally, a
Right.
legal holiday, in which case meeting shall be held on the following
But
Monday.
that book you give me, Sheila's got the old one in it.
Richard, is yours old? George Evans, yours got that?
She's got, they've got the stuff that you said you gave us last month, and I must have left mine at home. But, the, book is got the old thing in it.
So anything that was changed would be either in a red lettering or green lettering.
Let me see your phone, please.
I mean, I can show you.
15.
15, but see, I got the old one, I got the books. If I've got that at home,
This is what we got last month.
right, and I left it at home, evidently, it's in my stuff at home. But in this book, it's got,
Yeah, everybody says that theirs is all correct. But this one's
She's
right
got,
here.
she does have the old book.
I got the old one, see. But at least I read it.
Yes.
It wasn't easy, Brian, but I read the whole book.
It's a lot to go through.
A lot of kind of repeat stuff in a way, but I read it all.
I read it, I didn't memorize it.
No, I didn't memorize it either. I didn't memorize it either, Richard, but I did read through it, I didn't read it.
A lot of it's reading it and knowing where to turn to find
Right.
what you need, when
Just
you need it.
knowing.
That's it in a nutshell. Because I mean, certain things probably will never apply to our town, but, you know, it does, you know, we need to have it there, so it's covered. Okay, so that,
The biggest thing that I saw, Brian,
Mhm.
is I know for sure we have ordinances that are not included. And like,
What?
for example, the ordinances that we did last July to pay the planning board and the town council. Those are, typically you take your ordinance book and purge it into your new town code, and those are the only two that came to mind. I didn't like to dig through the book to see.
You're talking about the compensation?
Mhm.
Was that done as a separate item sometime in the past that, you know, because what I did was we took the copy of the town code that we have on our laptops,
Mhm.
and that's what we went by. So if there's
There's
something,
extra stuff, yeah.
so if Sheila, if you'll get us a copy of that, we can get it incorporated into the town code.
Yeah, I think it's just a revisit. Like I said, those two came
Because
to
I thought-
mind, and I didn't look at the
I
book
thought
to see
about-
whether there's more.
I also thought about this, y'all had done a resolution, related to, ethics, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
So that's not in there, so that needs to be added.
The only thing I noticed was on page 6 on my copy. It's 101.5. I didn't notice this fine, we were going through it. But, it says full and accurate minutes. Y'all passed, a ordinance stating that would start with a summary,
Correct.
not full ordinance, not full minutes.
Page 6.
Well, it's 101.5. That should be what everybody's page.
Page 6.
Down at the bottom, I didn't notice it when we went through it, it's oversight on my part. It should say a summary. Cause they passed the ordinance, we're
I'll
going
look
to make
at-
a summary of it.
I'll look at,
I can get you a copy of that also. I mean, just need to change the word from full to summary. I just didn't notice that, so I read back through it again.
Is that a summary for all minutes or
Yes.
for town count? Okay, all minutes.
So that would be the committee also.
So council will send it back to planning board with those suggestions. Are there any others that anybody saw that we want to have them look at? I'll kind of group the next three together, because I do kind of all come together. And the reason that they are coming up now is because the appropriate time to talk about those, having some standards set aside, are when we're doing this.
Right.
So, we've heard public comment the last two meetings about it. What are, not necessarily about what was offered, because what was offered was more of a starting point. Let's see what's out there that some people use and that kind of thing, and tweak to what works for us. So, I'd like to hear where the council's mind is on this kind of stuff. Yes, Brian?
Just one comment, we have a planning board, procedures document. And in that document, it does talk about, 3 consecutive absences. There is something in that part, related to planning board, and there is also the part that Taryn referenced, the 100.4, that references 3 consecutive absences for the Board of Adjustment. So we do have some guidelines for the planning board and for the Board of Adjustment.
It's in place.
That's in place currently. I just wanted to get that out.
Right, yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely.
I stand to be corrected, I don't think we've got an issue with that with the planning board or the town council or that I'm aware of. Unless anybody has any, do you know of any
So
that's not met?
I can
Excusable.
add, cause I'm obviously when somebody's gonna be out, they make me aware of it. And I sent this to Nancy, cause she asked a question, so starting from January this year, January 27th meeting, all members were present. The March 3rd, which was the February meeting, all members were present except LaRue Weaver, who was out of town attending a work conference. This was an excused absence. March 31st, all members were present except Jordan Jackson Felton and Patrick Cooper. Jordan was out sick, and Patrick Cooper was with his daughter. She had been involved in a car accident the day before. April 27th, all members were present except Jordan Jackson Felton, who was recovering from an emergency C-section on April 20th. Her baby also was required additional time in the hospital. This was an excused absence. All members were present except LaRue. This is May 26th. All members were present except LaRue Weaver. LaRue Weaver's mother passed away on May 11th, and she was still grieving her loss at the time of the meeting. This was an excused absence. So,
Like I said, I don't think it's been an issue, it was not an excuse, not unexcused.
now that's for the planning board. I'm not in.
And I can address the outreach committee. The outreach committee had several absences from different people. All were notified prior to the meeting. And we don't have a policy of unexcused or excused, but, in addressing Nancy's question whenever she asked it, I did say that, the outreach committee's absences were excused. One, because if you look at the minutes, you can't tell whether it's excused or not, they were just absent. So, one was an illness in January, which I had a procedure. Another was illness in, February and March, by two different members. One was work, one was vacation. Another was the illness of the mother that passed, and then the mother that passed. So, I would say that I would consider all of them approved, excused absences. So those are I think not the town council, because y'all have been here. The planning board has had little. I think the issue was more the committee absences. And so that was why I bring that up. Mm-hmm.
So there again, I don't see if
Okay.
it's been an issue with any of our committees or boards.
So, I talked a couple of months ago about purpose, why we do the things that we do. And to ensure that we are sticking to that purpose in everything that we do. A written policy is irrelevant if the council is going to carry out its oversight authority. If the council's not going to carry out its oversight authority, you need a written policy. The reason that oversight is important should be self-evident, but I'm going to say it. Every single person that serves on a committee has taken on a responsibility to do a job. If they are audibly there but have not prepared for the meeting, they're not doing the job. Also, as I said, we are all human beings, which means we are subject to believing things that aren't true. Social media literally relies on this fact that you can get bombarded with information that is rumor, gossip, and it sits in an echo chamber, and before you know it, you think it's true. Before there was a social media, there were sewing circles. There was tables just like this one. You put constraints on boards and bodies to protect the members. It's not punishment, it's protection for the members. Because they get to a point where they don't know what the truth is and what a lie is. Would you like a case in point?
Yes.
Last month, I'm sorry, Brian, but I'm gonna have to do this. When Brian spoke during our public comment time, the vast majority of what was said was not factually correct. And I don't think Brian Edwards is a liar. I think he's feeding off bad information.
Are you talking about the generator?
The whole transcript's there. Everything he said. Brian's words were in black. The corrections are in green. As I said, Brian Edwards is not a liar. He's been sitting in an echo chamber. And he doesn't know the difference. And he's not the only one.
It's all right.
So for the benefit of those of us that don't have that on the
I've got another
video,
copy for
can you read that green?
Absolutely. Here, just have to turn this. So I will read the portions. The first is talking about the generator and the email. If you recall, the email was read as the town has decided to move forward with installing a generator and left out a sentence. I say here, this is a cherry-picked email and only a partial truth. The email handed out in July referred to here did contain the sentence, they have allocated funds to be used in the new fiscal year, which begins July 1st. The sentence was left out of the verbal comments and its inclusion would have been very damaging to the point the speaker was attempting to make. I will not pass judgment on whether its exclusion was intentional or accidental, but it was very convenient at the least. I've attached the entire email chain for your reference. If the email was considered a contract by any party, the party that began work in June was the party that breached, not the party that expected work to be held off until July. Then he moved on to talking about public record and meeting notes. The accusation leveled in this portion of the statement is not only patently false, but absurd on its surface. These words were spoken directly in front of the camera that was installed over the objections of Mr. Edwards and others when proposed by the mayor. Further, the practice of handing out the full council packets to the National Graphic, who is our only Sunshine List participant, was begun during this current mayoral administration, as Nancy can attest. This mayor also spends 6 hours per week in the office for walk-in visits, and only a few have taken advantage of this availability. Sheila is also available to make appointments nearly any time for those who can't make the office hours. All of this has been repeated multiple times in our meetings and on video. It would be virtually impossible to be more transparent. If any individual has any question that hasn't been answered, it's only because it hasn't been asked. The only individuals who cannot get a private audience with the mayor have spread falsehoods over such discussions in the past, and can therefore only speak with a witness present.
That's mine.
Mr. Edwards, no problem. Mr. Edwards further accuses Sheila to be complicit in keeping secrets in violation of the law. Let's be clear, this is an appointed public official falsely accusing an employee of committing a crime, which opens up a whole different set of problems with labor laws. As an employee, Sheila cannot be subjected to the same slander we as public officials just have to take without potentially severe penalties by both state and federal authorities. Creating a hostile work environment for our only employee, Sheila, via slander or harassment is unacceptable and must stop today. My recommendation is simple. That everyone in this room, all of us, profess to be Christian people. Take a moment, take a month, and take a good hard look at ourselves. And whether we need to codify a standard or if we need to lovingly hold accountability up to those who need direction. But sitting in an echo chamber and a gossip tornado, we've talked about this for almost 2 years now. It's a problem. And it's going to bite us. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. First time we talked about this was like August 2024. You might remember I had stirred up a hornet's nest with the planning board.
Well, Warren's.
I told you at that time that I didn't think there was action that needed to happen, but that I hope you guys would keep an eye on.
What hornet's nest are you talking about?
That was the, Cullen Food Bank illegal conversation.
That was one individual that made that statement.
It was two, but
Well, I know one.
regardless,
And that individual is no longer on the planning board, so.
correct. That is correct. Like I said, my advice at that time was not seeking removal or anything like that. I wasn't trying to be mean to anybody, but that you guys keep an eye on it. Here we are 2 years later, and I'm saying, you guys need to keep an eye on it. Any more on those subjects? Because, we've got town code being reviewed again by planning board, so we can circle back to this discussion. I think it would be a good idea for us to take some calm meditation time over this. And really look at what we're glorifying here. Any objection with moving on?
I just wanna make sure you've got this as a copy of what was actually handed out.
The format
At the
that
last
was,
meeting?
the format that was handed out in the last meeting looked a little bit different. I think Brian printed it on his phone, or not Brian.
I didn't print it
Yeah, I think Al
either.
printed it off his phone or something, cause the spacing was weird. That's
Yeah.
off the computer.
Okay.
Yeah, same email changes.
Oh, okay, I mean, I just.
Yeah.
But
Wanted to make
I
sure
wanna make a comment though, that email should have been included in the town council's packet related to the discussion that y'all had related to the generator, and it was not. So I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but it's just coincidence, and it may have been left out by accident. But that email should have been contained in your document to show that Mr. Councilman Jackson did not send an email to Al saying to order the generator. It all stems from, if you're gonna go through the process of trying to figure out what happened related to the generator, then you need to get all the facts laid out first before you start accusing someone of getting ahead of installing the generator. That's the point that I was trying to make. Is to get all the facts, whether they're good or bad or ugly. You need to have all the facts in front of you before you make a decision to start pointing fingers. And that was not done related to the generator.
And in reference to that,
I know Sheila said it in the meeting that she didn't want to be the, take the hit for this. Personally, I don't think there was anything done for anybody to take any hit. And I would like for you to please explain to me how I overstepped my authority by reacting to when Al called me about locations of utilities in that place.
Absolutely. The generator was not allowed or allotted to be installed until the new fiscal year. So when Al shows up with the generator, that is the answer. We are not installing the generator until the new fiscal year. We can't. That's the correct
All he
answer.
was
That's
trying
the
to
only
do was
correct answer.
unload it for placement.
And I can understand the desire to do that. However, we cannot start the project till it's funded. And if you wanted to do that, that could potentially have been an okay thing to do if the other three members had approved it. But that was never taken into consideration.
Well,
Anytime, and here's my advice. If you're out there on your own making the decision, you're probably wrong. Even if it's the right decision. Because we
I
are
was
a
not.
council.
I was personally not making any decision whatsoever.
The decision to drop the generator is a
He
decision.
tried to
No,
call
sir.
you, and he wouldn't answer his phone.
That is correct.
I
You're right.
did not
If
make,
you'd have answered, it would've been taken.
I did not make any decision where to put anything. He was asking me where utilities were, or septic tank lines, gas lines. And that's what I come to do. And that's all I needed. I didn't call him to bring it, I didn't tell him where to put it.
My advice, and I know I'm
And
not a
I
town
think it's been
councilman.
made a mountain out of a molehill, really.
My advice is, in the future, even if you're gonna budget money to do something in the next fiscal year, you don't even order it until that fiscal year starts. I mean, no email should have been sent at all. Because it clearly says, let us know when you can install it. Let us know when you would like to proceed with the installation. And that email was sent in April. April, man, that's what?
April 22nd.
Yeah, that's May, June, July, it's
And
3
he was
months.
well aware that it was not to be billed until after the next budget year.
I think it needs to be chalked up as a learning experience
Right.
of what not to do next time for everybody.
But it does say on here clearly July 1.
Right, it
I
does.
didn't even look, I mean, I didn't look at it that morning because there was a lot going on. But
I also had I agree with Brian, I know I'm not a council member either, but I'm gonna say this.
Well, at the end of the day,
Phone
Yeah.
conversation with Al that was not mentioned. And I told Al, I said, call me when things want to proceed. And he did not call me, he called Edward. If he had called me and went through the steps to the person he was supposed to get in contact with to begin with, this probably would not have happened. And I know that Edward called me that day. And I'm sorry, but I have other responsibilities and I was at my other job. And I was in a meeting and I could not answer the phone. And I think Edward could tell you that when I got out of my meeting that day, I did call him. Did I not ever call you back that day?
I've never
And I let
said you
him
did.
know that I was in a meeting and he told me that Al had called with the generator and he had let him place it. At that point, I said, whatever, okay, fine.
Well, at the end of the day, I was just trying to share what was
Right,
going
and I
on.
agree with Brian, I think it just
And I-
needs to be,
I personally,
but I
as
don't
a
appreciate
personally
the
as a
railroad
citizen of
either.
Momire and a personally as a town council of Momire, I don't see anything that was done wrong.
Well, and see, I fully agree with Brian as well, that this needs to be a learning experience. But if you don't see that something was done wrong, then it's not a learning experience. If you're stepping out on your own, it's wrong. It doesn't matter whether it's the right decision or not,
But I
because
made,
this is a
but
council.
I made no decisions.
The generator stopped here. Did he just,
Did I make that decision?
you told him where to put it, did you
I
not?
most certainly did not.
You just said you did.
I most certainly did not.
He showed him where the septic
He
tank was.
told,
Right.
he
Right.
called me to ask me where the utilities were, and that's all I told him.
Okay, that's
He
fair.
also said he had 2 places he'd recommend putting it, but where he put it is where he thought the best would be. But just
So
for
that
correction,
I understand,
just for correction, I did not make any decisions on where to put anything.
so what you're saying, and I don't wanna put words in your mouth, so what you're saying is Al independently decided to leave a piece of his property on our property.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Okay.
And he admitted when he's sitting there, he said, look, he looked at the council
He
and said, hey,
told you what I just told you.
if you want me to come get it, he said he would come get it and take it up and take it back to his place.
Perfect,
Did he tell you exactly what I just told you when he spoke?
more or less. Yeah.
Okay. And what was it?
Different people say different things different ways, but yes, more or less the same.
You know, what I think at this point is, I think we need to learn from this situation.
Exactly.
I agree.
I think everybody needs to say, hey, let's just make sure we're careful. I'm tired of who's right and who's wrong. I'm not interested in, there's 2 sides to every story, and they've been expressed. But I think it's time to move on.
I agree with you.
I do.
And let's settle and move on, but I think everybody's had their say, and we will just rest this thing as an
I agree
experience
with
that's
you.
chalked up, and we will do our best to not experience this again.
And I make every member here as a council member. If you get a call from somebody about they gonna install something, I give them that man right there his phone number. That way they can go directly to him and he can tell them yay or nay. That's what I would do. That way you're left out of it and he can handle it and deal with Sheila.
And it does get cloudy. When I was working on the seal, there were times that I probably said something that,
It does.
that I didn't speak, but.
Well, you were ordered to take care of that.
But
You
for
took care of it.
any major decision, it came here. And so, anyway, I'm glad we've worked through it, but I'm ready to.
I agree with
Put it-
you.
I'm ready to go on too. I just wanted to be aware that Councilman Jackson made no decision. He was called because Al knew I had experience with this location. I knew the area, I knew where the utilities were at, and that's all that happened.
Sounds good.
And I assure you, I will never, ever, and I have never, ever tried to overstep any authority that I have for the love of this town and the service to this community.
Sounds good.
And never have and never plan to. No desire to.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead, Terry.
So, as a learning experience, what was the appropriate steps? I mean, if we're gonna go forward, what should have happened in the first place? I mean, I know clear communication is the only way to move forward, but I mean, what was the chain that was supposed to happen?
He was supposed to answer his phone call.
So I'm at Edward's beck and call.
No, I would think that if a planning board member called you, I mean, not planning board, but town council members called you, that you would answer their
I
calls
think
though.
one reason that Al called me is cause he knew I knew where the septic tank were, the lines and the utilities. And I don't think, y'all may know, but I didn't think anybody else, I wouldn't have thought y'all would have known.
And I think if the council had been asked to appoint whoever to do it, it would have been you that they picked. I'm
I
sure,
won't ask
because you
for that.
know where everything is.
Well, this is because I've been here since day one far as the building was concerned.
Right.
And I was involved with the contractor and Kenneth. When
Exactly.
we didn't know where all they were.
Right.
We found them, you know.
I don't know what to say at this point, but it keeps being brought up about him not answering a call. And if you remember that evening, he told Edward he would discuss it with him, and they had a discussion about that.
And I just
Why
wanted to
he
make
did
a
not.
point,
Okay, I was just saying that
deserve what he got.
that was covered at the end of that meeting between those two individuals.
As far as I'm concerned, it will stay between the two of us. Moving on. All right, state health plan rates.
Did you make the statement that Al has not got back in touch with you yet about the contract?
I do not, as of last night, have a contract still.
I got a question. What does the town have? Because the North Carolina General Statute states that if it's anywhere from $0 to $30,000, anything over $30,000, you have to have a contract. So why wouldn't the town have a purchase order document that that the town has designed, that's set up, that you would have give to any vendor for anything that's being purchased?
And that'd be a great thing to add to our program.
Because
We just don't have one.
$30,000.
Most places have a dollar set amount.
And we do too.
Right.
It's $5,000.
$5,000.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, have
No,
a purchase
I
order
agree.
document.
I like it.
That would cover all parties involved,
Yeah, oh, exactly,
both sides.
exactly. It would have a space for both parties to get
Is that
more
just
agreement of
for
what this
over
is. and-
$5,000?
So it's not a
Yeah,
percentage
$5,000.
of our budget, it's $5,000.
Right. State health plan?
So we're gonna just kind of let this other stuff go, that,
We will
until
revisit.
about the town code thing.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, okay.
Well, as far as the term thing, I don't think it's needed, I don't think it's necessary, I don't think it's a problem in our community, in our town. I don't know that other folks do it.
What
If,
town,
as far as being open to, and to the public, if anybody don't like the way any of us run, they can always run. We got the newspapers, they can come to the meeting, they can come see Sheila, and they can get a copy of the minutes.
the term limits do
Yeah.
not apply to the elected officials, because the state of North Carolina's constitution says that you cannot set term limits
Well,
for an elected official.
I mean in all of them.
But it's appointed
Yeah.
official. So, but I'm like Edward, I don't really see any, I mean, we had trouble finding somebody to be on the planning board the last time, if I'm not bad mistaken.
And I don't think anybody's on it, that don't mean, does not want to be on it. They want to be involved in our community and our town.
I think part of the eligibility, and we already have terms for the planning board. The planning board is 2 years. Their terms come up every 2 years. We are going to have an issue because, as I was looking at it, me and Will were discussing it. Brian and Jordan are on one 2-year track, but everybody else is on the other 2-year rotation.
It's
So
a
we're gonna have to
three-year track.
make.
I'm sorry, it's a three-year track.
Excuse me,
But
my
yeah.
mistake. But we're gonna have to balance it out a little bit better because you've got 2 people that renew and then you've got 5 people that renew the alternates too. So we're gonna have to work that out.
Yeah.
Y'all
We,
gonna
we
have
used
to-
to have that same issue with the town board, and then we got on alternate, so it was 2 and 2. So in reality, you couldn't have a whole new board at one election.
Right, exactly.
And I think
And that's the purpose of it.
exactly.
And on the eligibility thing, I think the point behind that is, I don't think it has anything to do with the planning board, because nobody on there is not an ETJ or a town resident. But we have had several people that have complained that some of the members on the Mumar Outreach Committee are not in our ETJ, and they are not members of the town. And some people have a problem with that. They feel like if you're on the outreach committee, that you should be a member of the town or a member of the ETJ. I think that's where the eligibility thing came in. I don't think it has anything to do with the planning board or anything to do with.
Well, I guess you'd talk about one on being Annie, since she got married and moved out of the town in ETJ. She still comes here, she still comes to church, she's still a member of the church. but-
She could get her
I
husband.
mean, it ain't me. It's not me that has the problem.
You're working on that, right?
We're actually
I'm
working
the
on getting them
messenger.
back.
I'm just a messenger. I don't care.
I know.
I don't have a problem.
Right, I'm
But there
just
are other
saying.
people in the community that have voiced concerns to me.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Yes,
These
ma'am.
people that are concerned about that, are they willing to serve on that committee?
They might would be.
Okay. That's all I need to know.
I did ask them about it.
It's not a limited,
What was their
it's
concern?
not a limited
They
committee.
just did
Yeah,
not like
anybody-
they were not members. Mainly it was, to begin with, it was mainly, excuse me, Nancy.
Numbers are
It
not
was Nancy
limited.
Bass,
I mean-
because she's not,
Who?
Nancy. She's not an ETJ member and she's not in town limits. Now, Annie
She
was
was on the
just,
previous
because
committee.
she really had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I mean, she does now, because she doesn't live here. She does, she's not an ETJ, and she's not in the town, but I think that's where the eligibility thing came in.
Right.
But like I said, I'm the messenger,
But you
I'm
know,
not the,
but Nancy is a business owner. I mean, you know,
but she's not in the
But I ain't
town,
not
and
in the
she's
town.
not in the
she is a
ETJ.
business owner within the, so, I mean, you know.
But I'm just saying, I'm the messenger.
I'm not taking up for my daughter, I mean, she loves the town of Momar, but even if she was not on there, and I don't know where she'll be on there in the future, where it's
Right.
our decision or her decision.
Right.
But if anybody has ties to this community, this town, and they're involved in some form of fashion, and they love this community, town, and they want to serve, I don't have a problem with it,
Right.
under that criteria. And I'm not saying that's cause it's my daughter, I'm just,
If I can speak from the,
and if I had my way, she'd already be back here.
I know, if she had her way, she'd already be back here. She
Yeah.
told me that, she told me that at Christmas.
the
Go ahead.
committee itself, welcomes any input. Our meetings are open, just like yours.
Right.
And they're posted, so anybody can come and participate in our meetings. So it's not limited. We do, and have reached out to people in the community to help us with, the events that we've had. We had Freedom Truck ambassadors that were significantly, impactful for the Freedom Truck, social media push. So, yeah, if you're listening and you want to participate or you're interested in assisting, come join us. Our next meeting is in November.
Do we need to make any kind of motion to handle this matter, or is it just a matter of we have no problem with it?
If there's nothing to change, there's nothing to change.
It won't be complicated if it is.
But we will need to fix the planning board rotation schedule.
Yes.
So y'all need to keep that in mind.
And I think,
It's not yet. 'cause
just, and I'm guessing a little bit here, I think it was at one time right, and then there was some attrition, and the terms ended up lining
I
up.
think it was when Sheely left, and
Right.
it was something about
And-
who else was it that resigned or was replaced.
Right, and the
And I
correct
think it
way
just
to
gotta
have
make it
handled
back
that
on
would have
track.
been to shorten the replacement's term so that it still matched up. That wasn't done, so now we gotta go back and correct. Is what it looks like to me. I don't know exactly when it occurred and what seats we're talking about. Hopefully I can dig back and figure that out, but otherwise we're
Put
gonna
it
have
on
to
the list.
make some calls.
But it won't be this time with Brian and Jordan.
Right.
It'll be when the next
Right.
ones come up. When the next, renewals come up for the planning board positions.
We ready for state health plan? Let's go to state health plan. Sheila attached for us her employee premiums. We're looking at the town portion, will be $745.44 per month for 12 months for a total of $8,945.28. This is an increase of $40.80 for 2027.
So that's the new plan that's,
The new rate.
that's offered to her, or
Yes.
that we got?
Yeah, through the state. Normally, it's, I think we were kind of lamenting this fact last year too, that our budget is due in July, but they don't have to do this until January.
Right.
So, you know, we have to be a little bit cautious when we're budgeting to make sure we cover for it, but,
At least we know it ahead of time,
exactly.
or we know it's coming.
Yeah, exactly. So the employee portion is $36.76 per month for a total of $441.12. That works out to be $16.96 per paycheck. Vision and dental plans have not yet been updated. This is strictly that plan.
I think that could change funding's getting the state.
They're switching back to Blue
Yeah.
Cross and Blue
Yeah.
Shield.
Yeah.
That one
Is
was
this one,
good.
Sheila is good with this new package, is what you recommend?
We'll hear from the horse's mouth. Are you good with this, Sheila?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same, it's 70/30, just like I already had.
I'll make a motion, we accept the new plan. Pay for Sheila's healthcare.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the 2027 rates for the state health plan, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Next, we have the radar sign.
It has a mind.
It
The one on-
definitely
The
does.
one on the east side of town has a mind of its own.
Exactly.
Yes, it does.
Has it had any vandalism, or is it just,
I stopped and looked at it several months ago when it first started acting funny, and I looked at it again, I guess it's been a month or so now. There's no apparent vandalism.
it's a hit and miss where it works?
Right. At first, it kind of looked like somebody had maybe tried to get into the wire box or something like that, but then I messed with it and it could have just been, torquing on the sign that caused it. But no, the thing's got a mind of its own.
One of the biggest concerns I had about, not vandalism, but the road crews, contractors that cut grass,
Right.
we've had multiple signs knocked down from them, and they just light it up. Just leave them. That's why we took insurance out on those things.
Exactly. Now, we had already talked about pulling it and sending it, but then it, having a mind of its own, went back to start to work, so we didn't do it. And so now Sheila did reach out and talk to Nick and see if he would be available and willing to pull it for us so that we can send it back and get it worked on. He's asked for $200 to do so. And that's discussing that.
Okay, so we need to make a motion that we allow Nick to remove it for $200.
So what did they recommend now again?
So we've already run a diagnostic on it, and it says,
In-house.
right, and it says it's running fine. Which it's obviously not. And so they have to have it in their facility to work on it and figure out what's wrong with it.
Just take it down and ship it to them?
Right, so we've gotta ship it to them for that to happen. We have the prepaid box to ship it to them. What we don't know for certain, since we can't for sure say it was vandalized, is what it's gonna cost us out of pocket to repair it.
Well, it should be what I have on that sheet right there. They have a quote.
So I guess there's no warranty.
No,
Right, the insurance is only gonna cover if somebody actually physically did something to it.
If it just breaks, it's on us.
Right, exactly. And that is the radar sign picture there. They've sent us an estimate of $1,295.
which is what it was last time. I made a motion to send it last time, but when it started back working, we never sent it.
Right.
But.
Do they have any theory?
Well, they're saying here, they're expecting to replace the CPU board, the radar assembly, which I would submit works. Because when it is awake, it's tracking your speed and it's
So
pretty
that's-
accurate.
It's just the board went bad.
Right. Now, they've got what they're calling a package deal. It looks like you're entitled radar sign refresh service, which is replacing all of those components.
They don't do piece.
They don't do just a piecemeal.
Right.
Which, I mean,
If they got it, they might as well.
yeah,
If
once
we're gonna have
once
it, we
you've
need to
taken
keep
the
it
trouble of getting it shipped there and getting it dismantled and all that other stuff, you may as well fix the other stuff.
And
that's
how
going
about-
bad.
Contract as far as person to take it down.
Well, that's what he said, Nick said he'd do
Nick
it
has offered to
for
do it.
$200.
So who would do that?
Nick,
Nick Frazier.
Oh.
Frazier,
Yeah.
we take it down for $200.
Mm,
Well, I would think he would be capable.
Oh, yeah.
He
I
works
think
in
he
the
would
maintenance
too.
in a pharmaceutical
Yeah.
plant.
I agree.
So we need a motion that we send it back to the company, let them do their work on it, and, let Nick Frazier take it down for $200.
Right.
Okay, that's my motion still.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, all in favor of sending the radar sign back to the repair facility at a cost of $1,295 and having Nick Frazier pull it down for that purpose at a cost of $200, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
One more thing.
Alright.
Y'all, somebody needs to get in touch with someone about getting the cement slab around that sign out there. It's getting nasty and dirty where they're cutting the grass. There's no cement slab around it yet.
I will reach out to him one more time, and if he's gonna be doing the tennis courts over here,
Okay.
repaving them shortly. And see, if he can't, we'll just go a different route. Let me try him one more time.
Fair enough.
He was gonna do it free, I hate to push him, but I mean,
Exactly.
it's been long enough.
I think town can afford to pay to have cement for it.
If we gotta. Free's always nice.
And y'all also need to think about doing something about the parking lot out there. The grass is coming all up in the parking lot. It's cracked in several places. Y'all might wanna one day discuss fixing the pavement.
And Nick's been spraying it, but the cracks are getting pretty big.
The, as far as the crack, Marshall, the Whitehurst Construction, they also put the black coal seal on it and the stuff in the crack. They put stuff in the crack first,
Yeah.
and then they come back and coal seal. We've had that done once since we've been there. After paving it. I
She's
can ask
not
him, does he
doing
think it's time, or,
I mean, it's gotta come over here.
but whoever sprays, if Nick would spray, if he sees any grass coming up in the cracks, it's time to get it But if you're gonna cool seal a driveway, it needs to be done before the winter. It adheres and adheres to it better, and also your water in the winter gets in the cracks, it freezes and makes things worse. So
Absolutely.
I will mention that to him if the board would like to. I won't overstep my boundaries.
Board?
Do we need to make a motion that we allow Edward to
So you
contact,
got,
contact Marshall Waivers about, fixing the cracks in the pavement and how much it would cost us?
And cement slab out front.
And the cement slab out front.
Second.
further discussion? All in favor of having Edward Jackson reach out to Marshall about the concrete slab around the sign as well as cracks in the parking lot, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Edward, for volunteering to do that.
Who did the second on that?
Richard.
Richard. All right, last piece. Good old audit time coming up again. You have the contract and the scope and objectives. It's substantially the same as it was last year. And like Sheila said, your individual surveys are available to be filled out once we've decided to go this way. It is still Jennifer, right?
Yes.
As far as your interaction, you and Sheila's interaction, y'all good with what's been done in the past?
Yeah.
Communication's good.
Yeah, it's a pretty quick and painless process.
I just want to make sure that, you know, we're on the same page and y'all don't have any problems.
No, not at all. You know, it is an audit of what it's an audit of, not an all-inclusive thing, and as long as we keep that in mind, yeah, it's straight. I'm good with it.
I'll make a motion, we stay with the same firm and new audit quotation, I guess. Just been presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of assigning WWCEJ and Auditor Jennifer Reese to conduct our annual audit, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That is the end of our new business unless a council member has anything else.
Make the motion, we adjourn.
All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Can't disappear.
Any opposed?
But we can turn that off.
Yeah. Any opposed?
Oh,
Motion
okay.
carries.
Do that.